Chapter 15. There's always a catch to a magic talisman. Neve's rules for Changling. Let them go, the queen had said. Very funny. Gasping and coughing, I broke the surface and tried to get Changeling's head above water. She was limp and heavy and not even fighting me. The Pre looked a long way away. Luckily, a couple of burly Selkies who were hanging out on the Pre saw us thrashing around. They dove in, hauled us out, and thumped on Changeling until she coughed up all the harbor water she'd swallow. Then they yelled at us for swimming without proper supervision. I promised we wouldn't do it again. They let us off with a warning and left us shivering in the widening pool of cold salt water. I looked around in front of the Castle Clinton. I saw a crowd of misty men and women surrounded by boxes and suitcases. Some of the women carried babies tied to their backs in shawls. They were all waiting for something, and I could tell they'd been waiting for a long, long time. They didn't even notice us. The sky paled, and so did the ghosts, until they faded out completely. Changeling was shivering and clenching her soggy flower garden jacket around her, as she thought it would make her warmer. I am very cold, she said through chattering teeth. I sighed. You'll feel better if you eat something. Are you tired of bread and cheese yet? I could ask Satchel for a chicken leg or something. But bread and cheese will be fine. I looked for some place away from the water where we could eat and dry out in peace, and finally found a kind of den between the back wall of the Castle Clinton and a couple of dumpsters. The space was already occupied by a dirty mortal in ragged coat and boots tied on with cloth. But he was asleep, so he didn't count. The changeling eyed him nervously. That is a street person, she said. He probably drinks too much or takes drugs. It is not safe to be around him. He's asleep, I said, and when he wakes up, he'll go right back outside, so he won't bother us. I do not understand, Changeling said. He is already outside. I wonder if Puka or Astris ever got tired of explaining obvious stuff to me. I meant New York outside. Where you live? Usually mortals don't come to our New York unless they're asleep. Here's your cheese. I could tell she wasn't convinced. She kept glancing at him, but she shut up and ate. I took a bite myself, then finished the magical mirror out of my shirt, where I'd stuffed it while the sulkies were thumping on Changeling. The mirror certainly wasn't very magical to look at. Two palm-sized circles of silvered glass set back to back in a plain metal frame. The first side shoved me nothing but a big pinkish blur. I moved the mirror closer, and my eyes swam into focus. It practically filled the mirror, greenish flecks and a brown iris. Pink veins doodled through the surroundings, white eyelashes coarse as a cat's whiskers. I put the mirror to my mouth as the mermaid queen had done and whispered, How do I get a ticket for Peter Pan? The mirror's answer was a view of my lips, magnified the orgish hugeness. The other side was just as useless. I wish we'd asked the mermaid queen how to make this thing work, I said. It's probably something icky like polishing it with demon earwax. Changeling reached for it. I would like to see that, please. I stared at her hand. It was clean from our seawater bath and pale with cold. 3 cloud-shaped birthmarks along her pinky finger showed up clear and red. I snuck a look at my own right hand. They were they were, the exact same marks. I want to see it, Changeling repeated and made a grab for the mirror. She had my birthmarks. She had my hair. She had my face, my eyes, and she didn't know any of the things I knew or care about any of the things I cared about. She hated rats. Well, I hated her. I thrust the mirror at her. Here, I said roughly. Knock yourself out. Just remember that if you break it, you'll never go home. Changeling held the mirror to her eye, then tapped searchingly along the edge of the frame. She held the mirror to her ear. She started to hum, happily this time. I turned my back and settled down to some serious thinking. The next item on my quest list was the ticket to Peter Pan, which seemed harmless enough. After nearly getting drowned, I wasn't up for tackling the dragon of the Wall Street. The most obvious thing to do, of course, was to trade something for the ticket. Too bad all I had was one soggy, useless fairy changeling and a magic satchel. The Mermaid Queen's mirror, of course, was out. That left me with basically 3 choices. Another contest. Working for the ticket, or stealing it like Jack stole the giant magic radio and Jack and the extension ladder. It felt like pressing my luck to try the riddle game again, which was the only non-magical contest I knew. And it didn't feel right to work for any genius other than my own green lady, which left stealing. Hey, Changeling, I said, you've been living with wild mortals. You got any ideas how to steal a ticket to Peter Pan? Changeling looked up from the mirror. It's against the law to steal. If you steal, you are a thief. Thieves go to jail. It was riddles are dumb all over again. I gritted my teeth. Things are different here, okay? People steal things all the time. If I get caught, I just have to give whoever I steal it from something in equal value and everybody's happy. Stealing is against the law. If I can't steal a ticket, how am I supposed to get it? Ignoring my question, Changeling bent over the mirror again. I put a salty curl in my mouth and chewed hard while I thought. But the only idea I could come up with was to sell Changeling to a demon for gold, which, however, tempting, but impossible because I'd promised to protect her. The day got warmer. The spider silk dress was dry, but my hair was damp and sticky, and my skin itched. I poked Changeling. Come on, Changeling. Time to get moving. You can carry the mirror if you want, but you have to keep it hidden. Changeling slipped golden chain around her neck and tucked the mirror down in front of her blouse. You're not going to steal anything, are you? No, Changeling. I'm not going to steal anything, I said. As we slipped out from behind the dumpster, I tripped over a street person who groaned, opened his eyes, and immediately disappeared. See, I said to Changeling, who was staring round-eyed at the empty space where he had been. I told you he wouldn't bother us. After our adventures in New York Harbor, the between ways didn't seem like such a big deal. Changeling grabbed my skirt, then closed her eyes and muttered, Broadway, 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 while I kept an eye out for our stop. Simple. Broadway is famous for its nightlife, which is the only kind of life anyone can be in place, where the sun never rises. The Puka had gone to Broadway to see Finian's Rainbow once and come back full of stories. He'd hated the play and loved the crowds and lights and the Broadway folk, who aren't like any supernaturals in the city. I knew about out of work vampires playing scenes on the street corners, hoping a manager or a director would see them and cast them in a play. I knew that gaffers and hoofers and the best boys and long lines of folk from all over the city waiting to buy tickets of popular plays. I was ready. Before long, I saw a huge flashing Broadway in red and white lights surrounded by blinking gold stars. Towering the changeling, I dashed off the betweenway, across the crowded platform, and through a door outlined in glowing zigzags. Outside the soulless dance, I'd never seen so many folk in one place in my life. The street was a solid mass of them, chatting and laughing, fox maidens arm in arm with kobolds, demons squirreling succubane, siddhi with peris, or possibly even mortals. In the blinking lights, it was hard to tell. Everybody seemed to know where they were going. Everybody looked cheerful. And then, where the lights, they blazed from windows across buildings' fronts, blinking, swirling, doing tricks. Across from the Betweens station, I saw a glowing green bottle drink itself over and over next to the bright pink cat, switching its glittering tail in front of its grin. Down the street, a bright blue bird flapped its wings above a sign made out of twinkling lights. Limited engagement, The Bluebird, starring Jimmy Dorrant and the infant phenomenon as the Bluebird. A tap on my arm woke me from my trance. I looked down to see a skinny supernatural and lime and purple checked jacket. You ladies look like you might have be in the market for some entertainment, he said. He was bald and blue-faced, and his lips didn't quite cover very sharp teeth. He looked like a kind of ghoul, mostly interested in dead bodies, not very aggressive. Still, I was cautious. Depends on the entertainment. The ghoul opened his jacket, displaying rows of colored discs stuck into the lining. What is your pleasure, ladies? A pair of oh my god. A pair on the Eisel to Wicked balcony center for babies in Toyland. This was just too good to be true. Got anything for Peter Pan? I asked. Yellow teeth flashed in ghoulish grin. Today is your lucky day, he said. It is not every scalper who can produce. He selected two of the discs. A pair to Peter Pan out of thin air. I eyed the tickets greedily. How much? I asked. I need one. I only need one. The thing is, I don't have any gold. Gold? The scalper waved one blue called airily. What would I want with gold? All I'm asking is a hand. Your choice. Cheap at twice the price. Are you out of your mind? He looked pleased. Yeah, I know I'm too soft-hearted. All the other scalpers are asking an arm and a leg. I started to edge away. Thanks anyway, I said. I think I'll try at the theater. Can you tell me where it is? But the scalper had already turned its back on me and was talking to a pair of elves. Fine. We just have to do this the hard way. I looked around for Changling. She wasn't beside me. She wasn't by the between entrance. She wasn't anywhere. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, as the moss woman would say. I walked down the street, trusting to luck and hunch that she'd be interested in moving lights. Sure enough, I found her staring up at self-drinking green bottle with her own mouth. Why can't you stay put? I snapped at her. I've got better things to do than go looking for you. No response. The bottle emptied and filled again, reflected in her unblinking eyes. Angrily, I grabbed her jacket and shook her. She took a swing at me. I danced out of reach and crashed into a passerby. I staggered. The passerby caught my shoulder and inquired in a voice like a tree full of birds why I couldn't watch where I was going. Too embarrassed to move, I muttered an apology to a pair of flesh-colored tights and sparky golden shoes. The hand on my shoulder moved to my chin and forced me to raise my head. I looked up into a pair of blue eyes, heavily shadowed and masquerade, with a mop of shiny blonde curls above them. Above the girls was a top hat, which was gold and shiny, like the shoes. The girl wearing all this splendor was maybe twice as tall as me, and a lot thinner. So the girl next to her, who had her arm around the first one's waist, and the girl next to her, who had her arm around the second, and so on down a line of 6 blondes, all dressed in gold bathing suits and top hats and sparky gold high heel shoes. And where are you going? The golden girls, quarreled. Caroled. I was looking for the theater where Peter Pan is playing, I said. Do you know where it is? 6 pair of blue eyes exchanged glances. 6 red mouths opened. 6 sweet high voices spoke in perfect unison. They're not auditioning. They're looking for boys, not girls. They wouldn't take you anywhere. You're too fat and clumsy. Folks say this kind of thing all the time. They don't mean to hurt your feelings. They're just telling you the truth as they see it. I was used to it, but Changeling wasn't. That was a very mean thing to say, she complained. Furthermore, it is untrue. I am not fat. I am well within the normal weight for per percent girl of my height and body type. The girls took 2 steps back, bowed, and kicked up their right legs, missing my nose by about an inch. Oh, they chimed. You're not theater folk. No, I said. We're changelings. You're not fledgling chorus line. This was new one on me. The puka had told me about hoopers who dance in musicals, but he never mentioned a chorus line. What's that? The girls executed a complicated series of dance steps, ending in another high kick, and the one staggered like a breaking wave. Passing folk broke into applause. I did, too. But Changeling stuffed her hands in her pockets and scowled. Thank you, said the girls, and bowed double. Mathematically, their top hats didn't fall off. I'm a chorus line. The chorus line, the original chorus line. Every other chorus line is just a cheap knockoff. I'll remember that, I said. Do you know where Peter Pan is playing? The chorus line's smile switched off. It's not. Isn't it the hottest show on Broadway? The chorus line wrinkled her nose, her 6 foreheads. Do yourself a favor, chickens. Go home. Forget the bright lights. Forget Peter Pan. Get a real job. Marry a nice man. Make your mother happy. This made no sense. This made no sense at all. If you don't want to tell me, I said, you should just say so. I'll ask somebody else. Don't do that, the chorus line gathered around us, her outside parts linking arms so she surrounded us completely. Changeling closed her eyes nervously. Listen, the chorus line said. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I can tell you. Look around. What do you see? I peered, and between two of the chorus line, noise, lights, crowds, check. But what had happened to the glittering pink cat and the theater where the bluebird was playing? The chorus line followed my gaze. The casino theater, she said. It's gone dark. So has the Republic, the Empire, the Bellicose. And the Follies is flickering. Broadway's dying, chickens, and nobody knows how to stop it. I wondered whether the fact that Peter Pan had clothes would get me off the hook with the lady. Somehow, I didn't think so. That's terrible, I said. You can say that again. The blended voice was sad. What's wrong? The chorus line lowered her voices to a gaspy buzz. It's all the producer's fault. Some fast talker him into putting Broadway on a computer. Everything, the everything, the plays, the music, the theaters, the lights, it worked really well for a while. But now it's gone buggy and nobody knows how to fix it. At the word computer, Changeling gave a little twitch. Hadn't she said something about fixing her dad's computer? And I'd read 2 complete issues of Macworld. We know about computers, I said. The chorus line rippled with surprise. You do? We're experts, I exaggerated. Take me to the producer. The producer's the genius of Broadway, you know, the chorus line said doubtfully. It's not easy to get in to see him. Do you really think you can get rid of those bugs? I didn't have a clue, but I did think once we got into producer's office, anything could happen. If worst came to worst, I was sure we could work out some kind of deal. Maybe go on a quest for a computer wizard or something. I didn't know much about tech folk, but I hadn't known much about mermaids either. Or maybe we'd actually get rid of producer's bugs. It was worth the try anyway. No problem, I said. Lead us to it.